Hey there. Happy Friday. Always feels great when we make it to the end of a week. Today, I wanted to spend a couple minutes here sharing with you the kind of why behind the three-step planning and time management strategy that I recently shared on the Work Life Harmony podcast. And this was a planning strategy specifically for teens/students. All right. Kind of from that middle school, and it could even be leveraged all the way through college. I'm not going to repeat what that actual system was here. I will share a link for it back to it in the description. But today I really want to help you understand why this system is so incredibly important, useful, and how it can support your teens/students. My name is Megan Summerall. I am a time management and planning expert, and I am on a mission to bring work-life harmony into homes all over the world. So let's talk first here when we're talking about students, AKA teens. First thing I want to do is kind of share with you why that can be so overwhelming for them. And the way this overwhelm usually manifests itself in your home, if you have kids in kind of that middle school, potentially all the way up through college age, is a couple different things, maybe something that you noticed in your house. And I started noticing this once my daughter was transitioning kind of through the middle school, getting ready for high school. And a couple different things are things you may be noticing. Situation number one, probably one of my least favorite. Let me know if this has ever happened to you, where it is Wednesday after dinner, you're exhausted, and all of a sudden there becomes the panicked, oh my gosh, I have this project due tomorrow. And maybe they had to, make the diorama or whatever. And now you're finding yourself scrambling because you don't have the poster board or the supplies or the whatever. And you're frustrated as the parent. 'Cause you're like, what the heck? Like the first thing I know I would always, I said, how long have you known about this? Why didn't you tell me this sooner? Right. I know that was something that used to happen in our house. Another situation can simply be, and this was something I used to do myself because I was a world-class procrastinator in my younger years, was you may catch them or not that your teen is actually, acting like they're going to bed, but then when they think everyone else is asleep, they're quietly turning on lights and cramming and studying for a test that is due the next day, right? You may also have a child that kind of spirals when a large project is assigned at work, or sorry, at school, because they're like, oh my gosh, trying to figure out how am I going to get it all done. So the first thing that I think is really important to understand, and it took me a while to kind of have this moment for myself, is realizing in my mind, I always just used to lump up school as this one category. Like my child has schoolwork, and then they have life outside of school. But the fact is, school is its own mini kind of nightmare for our kids to manage, because it's essentially as if though me as an adult, I'm trying to picture what would it be like if I had 7 or 8 different bosses, right? 7 or 8 different jobs, each one with their own boss, and each boss assigning me my own tasks, and they're all using different tools to do it. That would be exhausting to stay on top of. Well, that's essentially what a middle school, high school, college experience is like, right? Each classroom for our children has its own boss, their own tasks, their own assignments. And oftentimes the way that teacher is assigning work could be on a different platform. Maybe some are doing it verbally, some on Google Classroom, some through a Google Doc, some through email, right? And so our kids out there are having to absorb all this information coming from so many different places, right? That it can be overwhelming to get your head around it. And Nikki sharing, I've seen my college student working on assignment has to be submitted by midnight. That was me back in my younger days. So I think, first of all, us having some awareness of, okay, yeah, it's a lot to get our head around, puts us in the right frame of mind to be able to support our kids in helping them learn how to plan, manage their time. Now, remember, they are not being taught planning and time management skills, right? Unfortunately, this is not something taught in our school systems. So for us to just assume that they should know how to do this is really unfair. We don't assume that they know how to do math, right? We know they're being taught that. While time management is in some ways a form of math, and in other ways a form of excellent project planning. These are two skills that are not being taught. Now, I'm going to put a link in the description here of the podcast episode. I have a video that you can watch as well. So I'll put a link to that. That really outlines an actual 3-step planning system that you can teach and empower your kids with to help them avoid last minute procrastination, anxiety around figuring out how things are going to get done, and really empower them to make decisions with their time. All right. So I'm not going to repeat all of that here because I've got another video laying this out for you. But what I want to take the time to share with you today are the 2 most common things that putting this kind of planning system in place for your kids can absolutely help with. All right. And the why behind it. So first, let's talk about the scenario here that Nikki is sharing on the, feverishly working on an assignment that's submitted by midnight, meaning we're working on things right up till the last minute. Well, here is what is typically going on. Again, because kids are not taught how to do this kind of planning. What happens is maybe it's a Monday and there's an assignment. Hey, you've got a paper due in 2 weeks. All right. So in the back of your mind, there's usually 2 types of personalities here. So let's talk about the personality 1, which is the one that's going to be doing it, at the last minute. In the back of their mind, they're thinking, I've got 2 weeks to get this done. Like I've got all the time in the world, right? And it's Monday, and that's what they're thinking. Well, what they're not seeing, because their brain doesn't have this information visually stored for them, is what they're not seeing is what are the realities of everything that I've got going on over the next 2 weeks. So think of it kind of like, let's say it's payday. All right. You work a traditional job, you get paid on the 1st of the month, and all of a sudden a ton of money shows up in your bank account on the 1st. You're going to be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm finally going to go buy that thing that I wanted. Look at how much money I have. But if instead, if you have, a visual indicator, a budget, et cetera, of some time showing you, hey, maybe you just got paid $5,000, but 3,500 of that is already spoken for bills that are coming our way this month. All right. If you know that, you're not going to think you have $5,000 in the bank. You're going to know, I really don't have $5,000 because a good chunk of that is already spoken for. Well, ultimately, what this planning system that I laid out for you is going to do for your children is it's going to give them that visual information. Yeah, you just got assigned that project on Monday. Yes, you have 2 weeks to do it. But what if 5 of those days and evenings are already spoken for? With sports games, with activities. Maybe there's an all-day family outing on Saturday. Maybe there's 2 tests between now and then that they are also studying for. So by having a visual way for your kids to be able to see the time that's already spoken for, the realities of everything they're already juggling between now and the due date, it's going to support them in making decisions about not procrastinating and not waiting till the last minute. All right. Because I know if I have something, well, I got 2 weeks to do it. Why would I start on it today? Well, if I have a visual tool showing me, hey, actually, here's what's going on the next 2 weeks. Today would be a great day for you to start on it because for the next 4 days, you're completely swamped. Okay. So this is why that planning system that I laid out, that's how it's going to support our procrastinators, which I am a recovering procrastinator. Now let's talk about the second kind of common personality type. And this is more in line with my student, is oftentimes we have kids that when they get assigned a big project, they instantly start spiraling, right? They get stressed, they get anxious. Oh my gosh, it's going to take me 25 hours. I don't know when I'm going to have the time to do it. And it's Monday and they're in complete panic mode about something that they have 10 days to get done. Well, if we don't teach them how to lay out a visual roadmap showing them, hey, we got this. We know how we're going to get from here to, 2 weeks from now when this is done. What's going to happen is their anxiety is just going to escalate and escalate and escalate. And then as they're, sitting down to actually work on it, they're going to be in such a state of sheer panic that they're not going to be able to work on it, right? I mean, I know I've had this happen in my life where all of a sudden I'm feeling so overwhelmed on how am I going to get it all done that you end up just getting paralyzed and not getting into action? Well, again, using that planning system that I outlined in the other video that I'm going to link here, what it's going to do for your children that tend to get more anxious and stressed out about these projects is it's going to show them, hey, we've got a plan. Between, this Monday and the following Friday, where we've got 12-ish days, we can already clearly see, hey, today it's okay that you're not starting on it, because we can see you have time tomorrow, and then maybe 2 days from now. And then maybe we even make a decision as a family to say, oh, we were going to go do this thing on Sunday, but if you would feel better using your time working on this paper because the following week is really full, we actually get to have those conversations. And what it's going to do is it's going to show your child, you got this. There's a plan in place. We know how we're going to get from Monday to the following Friday so that we don't have to be every single day freaking out about when is it going to get done? When is it going to get done? Now, at the heart of everything I teach and where I start all of the adults that go through my top program is learning how to master weekly planning. And the weekly planning process that I teach, the detailed weekly planning process, also supports avoiding procrastination and calming anxiety. Now, at the time I'm doing this live video here, it's a Friday morning. I had a huge task, a big project that I needed to get done before this morning. And I'm telling you what, Monday morning this week, when I woke up, I was feeling very anxious about it. I'm like, there's no way it's going to get done. And every time that thought popped into my mind, I was able to look at my weekly plan that showed me, yes, it will. And here's how it's getting done. So that Monday morning, when I wasn't working on it, I could quiet the anxiety by saying, it's okay, we're not working on it right now, Megan, because your weekly plan is showing you you're going to have a good chunk of time on Tuesday. You're going to have a little bit more on Wednesday, and then you've got time Thursday afternoon. And so by seeing how it was going to get done, I could quiet the anxiety and focus on the task at hand. So again, these are just two of kind of the more mental aspects of how helping your student, your child learn how to plan is 100% going to support them, both in handling procrastination and also in handling the overwhelm that they may be experiencing from all the different things that they are juggling. So I would encourage you to listen to or watch the video that I'm going to be linking below in case you missed it earlier this week, where I shared specific time management and planning strategies for your teens/students. And you can even do this with them for several weeks until they feel empowered to take this task on for themselves. And here's the added benefit. What you're ultimately doing is you are setting them up for success as they kind of enter out into the world, whatever that looks like for them post-school, because you're going to be laying some fundamental control over their calendar skills and planning skills that unfortunately we're just not teaching our kids today. I know one of the things I was so thankful for when I was in high school and college is my parents spent a lot of time teaching me financial education that wasn't being taught, so that when I entered the real world, I understood so much more about how to have control over my finances, how to budget, how to plan, what was a 401k, how did that work, where would that, what would that look like for me? Well, being able to learn these time management and planning skills are just as important. So I hope you found this helpful. I would love to hear any successes you are having as you are teaching these kind of planning strategies for your kids. And again, I will go drop the link back to the specific training here in this video so that if you missed it, you can go back and watch that as well. Nikki's sharing, I've seen my daughter talk herself into doing an assignment she wasn't excited about by reminding herself something fun was scheduled, and if she would miss it if she didn't do the assignment now. Exactly. And that's how those visual tools, like, all right, I really want to do this thing over here. This assignment's due there. If I don't get it done, then I can't go do the fun thing, right? And it's all this visualization that's going to 100% support you, your children, your entire family. All right, I hope you've had a good week and have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you guys back here again next